What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, the 2025 WNBA season is creeping up on us, which means one thing. It is free agency time. All right, I am very excited about it. So if y'all are new to this, well, you better don't buckle up your seatbelt because it's about to be a fun, crazy, frustrating, wild ride, okay? But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of what's happening and what's about to happen, I figured it might be helpful to do a breakdown for anyone who's new to the WNBA. You're new to WNBA free agency. You're like, what the heck is about to happen? So let's tackle some of the most frequently asked questions, shall we? All right, so let's get started with the number one question that some people have is, what are the types of free agents? Like, we talk about free agency, but what exactly does free agency consist of? Well, there are four main types of free agency, and that is unrestricted, restricted, reserved, and suspended. Okay, so unrestricted free agent, which is the easiest one, it's pretty simple. There's no restrictions that the player has. They are free to sign with any team they want, no strings attached. Restricted free agents means that they can talk with other teams and sign with other teams, but their current team, the team that has rights to them, has the rights and ability to match any offer they get. So let's say Kennedy Carter is a restricted free agent, and let's say the Indiana Fever want her. The Indiana Fever offers her $110,000 for 1 year. The Chicago Sky can say, you know what? We're going to match that $110,000. Kennedy can no longer go to the Indiana Fever. She has to stay with the Chicago Sky because the Chicago Sky is her current team, and they matched, whatever the highest offer is. So whatever the offers is, if the current team matches that person has to stay there. All right. We also have the reserved free agent. Now, this is for players with less, and typically this is for players with less than 3 years of experience in the WNBA, and their current team has exclusive negotiating rights as long as they extend a qualifying offer. And this is the case for Nikolina Milic. She didn't play for the Chicago Sky last year, but the Sky did have her rights, and that's why they offered her a reserved qualifying offer. All right? Because she is a reserved free agent, not a restricted free agent. There's a slight difference in that terminology. We also have a suspended contract, and this is the case where if a player is actually suspended while their contract expires, they're treated like a reserved free agent, but the team does not need to offer them a qualifying offer to make that happen. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully those definitions make sense. Again, if you have more questions, put it in the chat and I will try my best to answer it. All right, so another question that people are asking is like, hey, okay, free agency is happening. What are the dates that I need to know? Are there some cutoffs? Like, what's going on? So here are the dates you need to know. 3 types of dates. All right, so from January 11th through January the 20th, teams can make qualifying offers and core players as well. Now, this only is for players that they have rights to. So you can't, like, someone who you have no rights to, you can't be like, okay, I want to core you because they're not on your team. Like, I want to do extend a qualifying offer. No, you can't because they're not on your team. So anybody who the team has rights to. So that is restricted free agents and reserved free agents. You can send a qualifying offer to those people during this time period. So from the 11th through the 20th. So lots of teams still have a lot of time to make decisions on who they want to send a qualifying offer to. All right. On January the 21st, teams can officially start to negotiate with players. So that's when, so yes, they sent contracts out, but no talks have been had so far. They're actually able to talk to players and their agents to say, okay, well, what do you want? How can we make this work? Yada, yada, yada. And then on February 1st, that is the time where players can sign contracts and sign their offer sheets. So yeah, that is something to note. All right. So hopefully that is helpful. The next question that people have is, hey, can teams talk to players during the qualified offering period? No, they can't. Teams can send out their offers, but they cannot actually chat with players and their agents until January 21st when negotiations open up. Players can sign qualifying offers right away if they want. For example, Jaylen Brown already signed her training camp contract with the Dallas Wings. It's because she wanted to. She hasn't actually talked to the Dallas Wings. They just sent her the qualifying offer. She signed it, and we're all good to go. Will a lot of people sign it right away? Probably not. I think a lot of people would want to have a conversation. So no conversations can be had until the 21st. All right. So another question. what exactly is a qualifying offer? I've done a lot of talking about a qualifying offer, and you're probably like, hey, what the heck is that? Well, that's a good question. There are actually two different types of qualifying offers. There is, or at least what I would consider two different types of qualifying offers. There is the core qualifying offer. Now, usually when people talk about this qualifying offer, they usually don't say core qualifying offer. They say that the person is being cored. So basically, Satu Sabli was cored by the Dallas Wings. That's a way that you can use that in a sentence. This action basically locks a player into a fully guaranteed 1-year deal worth the Supermax. Now, only their current team can negotiate with them. So, Satu just got cored by the Dallas Wings. She already expressed that she's not planning on returning to Dallas, and so Dallas is going to work out a trade for Satu Sabli. But they cored her, basically ensuring that, yes, she's going to get max dollars next year, but also she doesn't have that much of a say because Dallas has the rights to her. Now, fun fact, if Satu did not like being cored, like if she's like, you know what, I'm cored and the Dallas Wings is actually thinking about keeping me, I don't want to play for Dallas. If she doesn't want to play for the team that just cored her or go to wherever they send her in a trade, she can't negotiate with anybody else, right? If a player does not sign their core offer, they can't negotiate. That's it. You can just ask Elena Deladon, right? She refused to sign her core last year, and she decided to sit out. So for 2024, Elena Deladon, one of the best players in the WNBA, did not play in the league. Not because she was hurt, but because she didn't want to play for the Washington Mystics, and she didn't. She expressed that she didn't want to be there, and they were not, I guess, willing to send her wherever she wanted to go. And she was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna sign it. And because she didn't sign it, she had to sit out the entire year because there's nothing else you can do in the WNBA if you do not sign your core qualifying offer. So anyway, that's the case. Now we also have a regular qualifying offer. Now this applies to restricted free agents. It's a 1-year deal with a slight salary bump. We also have the reserved qualifying offer, which I haven't really found the clearest of definitions for, but in some cases it is just a training camp contract, like as in the case of Jaylen Brown. Now, another question is, does a qualifying offer guarantee the player will stay on that current team? No. The qualifying offer isn't the same as a guaranteed contract. It's not. Players can still be traded or even cut with no salary. So just because your favorite player gets an offer does not mean they're actually going to stay on that roster. Okay? In some cases, it is just used as a trading chip down the road. Now, if someone's like, hey, my team has not cored or sent a qualifying offer to my favorite player yet, should I be panicking? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be panicking because teams have until January the 20th to make all of these decisions. They all move at their own pace. For instance, the Fever have not yet cored Kelsey Mitchell. Now, does that mean that they're not actually going to core her? No, it just means it hasn't came yet, right? So just be patient, guys. Just be patient. There's a lot of people who are very, very used to the way WNBA Fever free agency works and whatnot. And it feels like those people are a lot calmer than some of the newer people who are just like, come on, sign this person. Come on, send an offer. So just calm down, do some woosahs or whatever you do, because it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Teams take their own time. A lot of teams, kind of do whatever they want to do. Now, some of y'all are probably like, okay, teams working on their own pace, but don't they all do the same thing at the same time? Do teams send out offers in batches? Well, usually yes. That's why, personally, I am a little surprised that the Chicago Sky gave offers to some players, but not Kennedy Carter just yet. Curious situation over there. We'll see how that figures out, but likely they should extend her a qualifying offer, at least just to reserve negotiating rights, so that way they can at least get something for Kennedy. Now, some people are probably like, also, how wild should I be expecting this free agency to be? Well, I'm going to say very wild. Very, very, very wild. If this is your first free agency, just buckle up, Buttercup, because players, it's going to be a fun time. Players are going to be talking on social media. We're going to see a lot of reports from WNBA insiders about what's happening and yada, yada. And also, Also, a wrench this year that did not exist in the past is that many of the WNBA free agents are participating in Unrivaled this offseason, which allows for things to get a lot more interesting because players are talking to each other way more than they have been in the past during the free agency period, and also we're going to be seeing this play out on TV, and so it's going to be an interesting wrench in this entire situation. Okay. Also, some of y'all may be wondering, okay, well, how long are WNBA contracts? Well, it depends. For players who were not drafted, contracts are usually maxed at around 3 years. Now, if they resign with their current team, they can get a 4-year deal. So that's the info there. Though it's not likely that anyone that the bigger players in free agency, it's not likely that they do sign a contract longer than 1 year, because they have opted out of the CBA, and the CBA is up at the end of the 2025 season. So therefore, they're gonna have negotiations. There's gonna be a huge bump up in pay, and no one wants to be under contract when that happens because they want their numbers to go up, up, up. So it's not likely that we will see anybody sign a 3-year deal, or it's not likely. It's not even likely that we will see many people sign a 2-year deal. Likely everything for the most part will be a 1-year deal for free agents. Okay. Now, some of y'all are probably also wondering, what is the salary cap for 2025? Well, teams can have up to 12 players on the roster, but they must stay within these limits. So the max is $1,507,100. That is the maximum that a team can give towards their roster. That's the max. You cannot go past that. Now, in the NBA, they have what's called the Supermax and all this other stuff. The WNBA does not have that. Maybe they will in this new CBA, but they don't have that. So you cannot go past that number. All right. So that's definitely going to be a interesting thing to pay attention to, especially when we're looking at teams like the New York Liberty, like the Las Vegas Aces, teams that have a lot of veterans with large contracts. And so they got to do whatever they need to do to stay at or under that mark. You cannot go above the max. All right. And in the WNBA, they also have a minimum salary. So WNBA teams can't just say, you know what, I want to save some money, so I'm just gonna get a 12-man roster on minimum salary contracts. You can't do that because the WNBA has a minimum of 1,000. No, definitely more than 1,000. $1,261,440. That is the minimum. Okay, and under current CBA, the cap increases by 3% every year. So we do know the current scale of where the cap is and where it's going to continue to go in the future. Again, we will have a new CBA, so that's going to dramatically change after the 2025 season. But for right now, those are the numbers for the 2025 salary cap. All right, and some of y'all are probably also like, okay, I've seen a lot of stuff on social media around offers, but is any of this stuff legit? How can I double check to make sure that stuff is right? Well, what you see on social media may be correct, but your best source of truth is WNBA.com/players/transactions. That is your one-stop shop for in the moment news around who got a qualifying offer, who waived who, yada, yada. So that's your number one source, okay? So if someone says, oh, XYZ got cord, you can double check that by going to WNBA.com/players/transactions, okay? And before you make your social media post, before you make your video, before you do all, just check to make sure what you are saying is actually correct before you actually say it, okay? All right. Also, another great source of truth is Her Hoop Stats. I love that site. Shout out to the people who run Her Hoop Stats. Like, they are fantastic at what they do because they have the salary caps of the teams and who's under contract for the teams. They have contract information for players. They have definitions. So if you're confused about something, they also are a great place to go. They also have a podcast. They also have a whole bunch of other stuff. Definitely engage with Her Hoop Stats. They are the greatest non-WNBA entity when it comes to women's basketball. Like, definitely the best. So definitely check them out. Great stuff. And you can count on whatever they say being accurate because they're They're really, really, really good at what they do. Also, I would for sure say this channel. If stuff is going on and you're like, what, you're confused about it, you want some context, that's what I aim to do on the channel. I aim to give you all context about what's happening and make sure I do it in a very, very factual basis. There also are other WNBA people out there who are great sources of truth. One person who like gets a lot of the scoops and all that stuff, I would say like the Woj of, even though Woj, is now what is he, a general manager at a college or something like that? Anyway, the Shams of the WNBA is Andy Costable. So whatever she write is in terms of scoops that's not official yet or whatever is probably correct. So that's a good source of truth right there as well. But I guess I'm biased because I'm from Chicago and that's where she does a lot of her writings on. So I don't know, maybe I'm biased there. But anyway, that's kind of the sources that you can go for. Of course, there's also a lot of other journalists on Twitter, on Threads that you all can easily rely on. But again, if you have any questions, always go back to WNBA.com/players/transactions for actual news about like what is actually true. All right, so now we may wrap up. We're wrapping up here, and you all may be wondering, okay, so you've done all this talk about free agents. Who are the top free agents this year? Well, that's going to be a long video, so I'm going to save it for another time. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn your notification bells on, because I will be putting out that video shortly. So stay tuned for that. Okay. That was a lot. So I gotta breathe a little bit. There you have it, guys. Hopefully that cleared up some questions and confusion that you all may have had around WNBA free agency. Again, if you all have any questions, please drop it in the comments. I do my best to answer your questions either in the comment section or making a separate video. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for choosing this channel to rock with. I make content all about women's basketball. I've been following women's basketball almost my entire life. Yeah, I love it. I'm true to women's basketball. I'm true to the game. I know a whole bunch of stuff. Hopefully my random knowledge will be helpful to you on your WNBA journey. Guys, thank you for rocking with me, and I will see y'all in the next one. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and see you again. Bye-bye.